Zuma takes a swipe at Ramaphosa. Former President Jacob Zuma fired a salvo at President Cyril Ramaphosa, calling him an unrepentant thief. Without mentioning his successor, Ramaphosa by name, Zuma charged, "We now have a person who does not care about the people, who stole money and stashed it in a mattress, but we cleared off any wrongdoing. He is an unrepentant thief," said Zuma, speaking in isiZulu on Saturday. Zuma, who now leads the Umkhonto weSizwe party, visited Inkosi Mqoqi Ngcobo at the Amaqanti clan in Inanda, north of Durban. He reiterated that the MKP was allegedly robbed during the recent national elections, despite becoming the biggest party in KZN with 37 seats of the 80 in the provincial legislature. Nationally, the MKP bagged 58 of the 400 National Assembly seats that were up for grabs. "We were robbed in the elections. But let's not fear. Instead, let's work harder to win convincingly in the next local government election 2026, said Zuma. Zuma, who led the country as president from 2009 to 2018, ironically poked holes at the country's government system. "When we win the next national election 2029, we'll charge the system. When we, MKP, are in power, we will install a prime minister who will report to the monarch. It is time for our traditional leadership to govern," said Zuma. He also turned to the ANC's step-aside policy and claimed it was formed to bury senior leaders, including his loyal backer, former ANC Secretary General S. Magashule, who was expelled from the ANC in June last year. There is another man, Magashule, in the Free State who was removed as Secretary General of the ANC due to some frivolous allegations. He was targeted by the current leader, Ramaphosa, and was completely axed from the ANC, said Zuma. Magashule's dramatic expulsion was due to his alleged involvement in the 255 million rand asbestos tender issued during his tenure as Free State Premier in 2015. He then formed African Congress for Transformation ACT, which failed to get a single seat in the National Assembly and in Free State. Zuma's attack against Ramaphosa comes after the incumbent president announced a government of national unity, GNU, after no party obtained a clear outright majority following the May 29th elections. Proposing the GNU, Ramaphosa said this would chart a way forward and break a stalemate. The ANC dropped to 40.1% from the 57% it had achieved in the 2019 national general election. The proposed GNU would likely see Zuma's MKP and Julius Malema's EFF being sidelined from the power deal. Parties like the Patriotic Alliance PA, led by Gayton Mackenzie, the EFF and MKP have already indicated they would snap the GNU. Some ANC insiders have already drawn a line and reportedly warned Ramaphosa against going into the GNU, which will involve the DEA. If the GNU deal passed, it would not be the first time the country found itself in such a position. Back in 1994, Nelson Mandela, first Democratic ANC president, roped in F.W. de Klerk, leader of the National Party NP, and Inkosi Mangosuthu Buthelezi, leader of the IFP, to co-govern despite the ANC having won government with clear majority, 62%. This, Mandela explained at the time, was to ease tensions between the rival political parties. Nothing to fear, says MKP. The Umkhonto weSizwe Party, MKP, has moved to assuage fears of political instability or unrest after their dominance in last week's elections caused a flurry of immigration inquiries, many from Durban. There's no such thing. It is purely a lie, said MKP's head of programs, Musa Mkhize. On Friday, a fledgling party which obliterated the ANC and other political rivals in KwaZulu-Natal and emerged as the third strongest party nationally, said it had a clear mandate from the people, respected the rule of law, its own people, investors and people from all countries. Umkhonto weSizwe is here to serve the people of this country and mainly those who are willing to make this country work. The party is not a threat to anyone, but is a strength to South Africans, to everybody in South Africa, said Mkhize. In an unprecedented result, the party led by former President Jacob Zuma deprived the ANC of an outright majority for the first time in democratic South Africa. Police Minister Bheki Cele deployed extra police officers from other provinces to KZN, claiming to be acting on intelligence information to prevent riots and political instability. Immigration agents told The Independent on Saturday that since last Sunday, when the final election results were announced, they had been inundated with calls from people panicking about the future of the country. Tracy Lawrence, whose company, Australian Migration Specialists, is based in Johannesburg, said that, interestingly enough, many of the queries were from Durban. I think they are very worried about this MK situation and they are just wanting to look at what the options are. They don't think that it's going to be an environment that's conducive to living in, she said. Lawrence said apart from fears of political instability under MKP, there was a range of other things that made them nervous. People, I think, have just reached the tipping point. There are too many things that are not going right and they don't see a future for themselves and particularly for their children, she said. Some of the discussions with people from Durban also revealed their fear over the ANC, MK and EFF coalition government. They are worried that if there is a coalition with MK, there will be a way to change the constitution. People are seriously worried about these things, and it's not like pie in the sky worries, it's like valid worries, said Lawrence. She said there was a different trigger for everyone, but concerns over the national health insurance, corruption, unemployment, and now the political future of the country were some of the issues which drove South Africans to look for greener pastures. Our inquiries over the last 12 months have been pretty regular, and we definitely do see an uptick when there is hectic load shedding. When we are in stage 5 and 6 of load shedding, we definitely see an uptick. Breitenbach's immigration consultant director J.P. Breitenbach said they had identified several issues which triggered an uptick in queries from South Africans who want to make a temporary or permanent move to the UK and this includes the elections. Breitenbach said that there would be an inevitable interest shift to immigrating when events created uncertainty about issues like safety, job security, and financial stability. With each tension event in South Africa, the number of inquiries regarding moving abroad jumps significantly. These events include the likes of load shedding, political tension, and prospective enactment of new legislation which might be viewed as detrimental to some, economic tension, and, of course, political reactions such as the Durban unrest that occurred in 2021. However, Mkhize said South Africans had nothing to fear because MKP was committed to the rule of law. Having to exercise our democratic right when we are not happy, we are doing it within the rule of the law in courts. It is within the same democracy that brought however is here in this country to make it work, so it's actually in line with all of us without violating anybody's rights. We've done a good thing and are standing in the right direction. He rejected the police's intelligence which prompted the deployment of extra security officers to the province, saying that LA has failed to fight crime, violence, and gender-based violence. They were not able to create jobs. They were not able to develop black people, to put them in a business space, economic growth, mainly because of the poor intelligence that has been run in this country. Clearly, that intelligence is intelligence that is imposed and intelligence that is working for a few, not the majority of people in this country. Such intelligence will be proven to be wrong, and it's going to turn away good investments that will benefit the people of this country, said Mkhize. And that's it from Injibs Network. Stay tuned to our celebrity and gossip news.